Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode. I am here with Alex, who this has been a very fun journey. We've gotten to know a little bit about him and his career and how he started as a personal injury attorney and why he loves being a personal injury attorney. Then we got into him a little bit more, like who he is. And now we're back again. And this episode, we're actually going to dive into a little bit more of um I really want to say some stories of your criminal justice time. Criminal justice? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's criminal justice. I don't know why that sounded
Yeah,
weird.
it is.
And then personal injury side of you, because you have both sides of you. So I think that would be really fun to share some stories too. Because especially, okay, so well, here's how it kind of all started. I'm actually going to get really comfortable for this episode and cross my legs and sit on my chair and do my whole thing because yeah, I'm ready to be comfy because it's like story time. I'm like, ooh,
Mm.
let's sit in and let's have a story. um, but I want to talk to you about your criminal justice time because I actually listened to this book called Down the Drain, which is that says it all right there. But it was literally about a Julia Fox, who is an actress. I didn't even know who she was until I read the book. Somebody had recommended it to me. She's been in a couple different movies, but she had a very rough upbringing. It was in the criminal world a little bit. She ended up in there. And because she was in it, I kind of got to hear her go through the system a little bit, which is fascinating. And like she said, her attorney um that was assigned to her case seemed very loving but so overworked, right? Like
A
it's
legal aid lawyer.
it probably,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean she didn't get into the details obviously, but
No.
hearing this person, he wasn't able to, he had so many cases. She's like, he'd walk in and he'd have different 15 different charts on his desk and everything, and he would give me one word answers, but wanted to help me but wasn't able to get back to me for hours and hours and hours at a time, and so there's different types of attorneys in this whole system, right? And some that you can hire privately, and then some that you get assigned
Yeah.
publicly. So let's talk about that. I think this could be kind of a fun, interesting episode.
So I was on the prosecution side,
Oh, so you're on the totally other side.
whether it's bad, good or bad, depending how you look at it.
Well, how would you take on a case?
So that was I was the government. Like the cases were just they came from the police from NYPD,
Yeah. Okay, so you're the NYPD, the government side,
the government side,
fighting the criminals,
the accused
the
people.
accused people.
No, not
Clearly
fighting.
my
I would I would rephrase to say that seeking to help the victims and rehabilitate the accused. You see,
okay.
I come from the school of thought of the Brooklyn District Attorney. Her
Okay.
now is Eric Gonzalez, my former boss. I doubt he'll be watching it, but I what differentiates Brooklyn DA from many other district attorneys in the country
Hmm.
is that they're very into not just locking people up, but into programs, into trying to reform the person um to try to make society better as a whole, and to be fair to everyone, to seek justice for the victims, and at the same time to seek to help the to not be overly harsh when not necessary and be harsh only when necessary. So it's a very fair system. So in a lot of ways, the prosecutor's office that I come from is probably different from many local state attorneys in Florida. So they're, I guess, try to be more humane, if that's the right word. That's that that's how I grew up. That's my school of thought.
Interesting. So, okay, so you're on the government side prosecuting these criminals. And did you feel overworked? Did you feel
Oh,
like,
I was fine. I mean, Brooklyn DA's office is one of the busiest in the country, but we had a great support system. Still do. So there are bureaus, there are units, there are people helping each other. So it was definitely a lot of fun.
and so you have to put all these pieces together. Like, you have to build your case, right? Because you want to put this person away.
Well, no, when I want to seek justice. There's a
It's such
difference.
like an attorney right there. Like that is, I'm like, get after the guy, go for it. And you're like, well, let's keep
There are
it.
many people who are unjustly accused or accused of crimes, only some of which they may have committed. And one of my jobs was to interview the police officers and go through all the facts that they have accumulated and figure out, did you have the right basis to even arrest this individual? And if you did, what should we charge him with? And sometimes police officers would bring us cases that required to be declined, meaning like there was wrong identification made or something was insufficient. Because one of the big thing about the Brooklyn DA's office is that they would be big into prosecuting only those who deserve. So a lot of times you have to decline, or you did charge a person, but with different charges than what the NYPD brought. So it was definitely a lot of fun. You worked with the officers, but you also wanted to do the right thing.
It's got to be very intense because, like, I just, when I read this book, this is what's like on my mind because I like literally just finished this book and it's insane. Way too intense for me. Like, I realized that I could not do probably what you even did. And like looking at these crimes and looking at, you also have to have like a thick skin a little bit and be a little bit desensitized to some of it.
And for better or worse, eventually you do develop. I always felt bad for people, for the victims, but of course, when you go through so many cases, you need to develop some thick skin in order to help the same people who you're interviewing. Like, hey, what happened to you? Did someone beat you up? Like, well, talk to me, to hear them out, all these stories. And that's part of what attracted me to personal injury is that over here, these people are injured, not necessarily on purpose. It's due to negligence, to carelessness, but still there's that parallel. So over there, I helped right the wrong by people who were intentionally hurt. And over here, I try to help people who were hurt due to someone's, recklessness or negligence.
I love how you just tied that in. That was very good.
And that's how I feel.
Yeah, no, I know you really are here to uphold the law. Like that's really, you're like, I want to make sure that that person is taken care of. That was wronged. That was wronged. Period.
That's definitely on my mind. I
Yeah.
sometimes undertake to represent people, the value of whose cases in personal injury might not be that big or big at all. Might be a small case because the injury wasn't as significant as it could have been. But if I feel that a person was wronged by a third party, I will seriously do my best to pursue it to help that individual.
Yeah, that's so good. So, what were some of the things that you saw as a prosecutor? Like, I really don't know the system.
Oh,
Clearly, that I like totally screwed up the whole thing in the beginning. But
no,
I
you
would,
didn't. You're just asking
I'm
questions.
asking questions because I don't know, and I think
Mhm.
there's a lot. If I don't know, like there's a lot of people that don't know, right? Usually, if
Yeah,
there's one person, then there's usually a lot of people.
and you know a lot, so that says a lot.
Well, it's just it's a different area that I haven't dealt with. Like I deal with personal injury, I deal with other areas. Like I deal so this whole criminal. Thank God I've never really needed to know about it. It's been such a blessing. But when I was reading this book and looking at like I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many different sides to things and like um and the whole system of like really trying to also like obviously like help people out.
Yeah.
Like it's designed for justice but it's also designed to like they want people to kind of succeed and think in the system. But okay, so do you have a story for us? Story time. No. Like that had happened where you had a case and you had to work together as a team to put it together and make sure you won, right? Because you
Well, I mean, I would have to dive deep to remember my past life, but I did enjoy working on many drunk driving cases, and then in the one of the bureaus where I worked, I was like nicknamed the DUI guy,
really
because I somehow always felt really bad for the fact that, people, what danger drunk drivers put society in. And I don't think it's right. Nowadays, don't get me wrong, I sometimes get phone calls. I don't practice criminal defense, but I get phone calls from people who say, hey, I was arrested for drunk driving. I'm happy to recommend a criminal defense colleague to them. Everyone, I believe very strongly that in this country, everyone deserves to be represented. I think that that's what our country stands for, one of the principles. But I'm saying the other side, if you look at the other side, like I deal with injuries, car crashes, for instance, right? I feel horrible when a client gets hurt to begin with, but when the same client gets hurt by a drunk driver, that adds a layer of recklessness, of danger that individual put my client through. And that's what went through my head in the DA's office, that it's really reckless for people to drink and get behind the wheel, because you can cause enormous pain to others if you hurt somebody. And it's bad enough if it just happens, but if you're intoxicated, that's pretty bad. So I used to like those cases. Many stories of, I guess, not that I recall any in particular, but people would, colleagues would come to me for advice. Hey, what do you charge someone when, they go blow over a certain limit, or, they drive over a certain speed limit when drunk and stuff like that. That was one of my quote unquote specialties.
It's a horrible thing, especially now that we have like so many other resources, like Uber and Lyft and whatever, right? All like what are they called? Like driver, whatever they are, even taxis, right?
In some states like Georgia, which is very interesting, I guess it's very interesting how it would impact my field, but they're really self-driving taxis.
I've heard like the Waymos. The
Waymo, yeah. My wife and I were in Atlanta, my second office in Atlanta, and sometimes we go there after visit. And we were literally in an Uber, and next to us was that self-driving car.
So crazy. It's a little like, it freaks me out a little bit.
Like Back to the Future, we're like in that. The part of me is a sci-fi nerd. It excites me. It gives me anxiety as a PI attorney of what's going to happen to the field.
How does that? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but as you're talking about as a PI attorney and car accidents, how does self-driving cars, like, I guess it's the company that is at fault, right? So the company has to have good insurance.
Right.
Because there's no driver.
Yeah. So it will be the company. So it's so interesting how, are they going to succeed? Are they going to create software that's so good at reacting and recognizing vehicles, around you to the point where they would really be safer? Or is there room for glitches, as, for something going wrong, for the system failing? You can make movies about that, right?
There's so many things. Then you have to go after, you're going to have to prove the point of like that it was the Waymo or whatever self-driving vehicle it is. You have to say like, because of this defectiveness, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's some defect or something happened that creates like a whole new world that, we haven't visited before.
You're going to be getting into a whole new area of law.
But it's not a rumor. I have personally witnessed that Waymo car next to us, and there really was no driver. So it's both very exciting and also a little anxious.
Yeah. No, it scares me a little bit, but I'm sure we'll get used to it. Like we got used to iPads and cell phones and all this other stuff and texting and yeah, but that is going to be interesting. So the companies will be liable because like Uber, I know has obviously if you're a driver for Uber, you are under the Uber insurance policy. As soon as you like clock in.
It depends on the stage of what you're doing for Uber. So if you're not logged in, then you're at the mercy of your own insurance.
Yeah.
And then you have to really, get the correct coverages. I think discussed it in previous episodes.
Yeah.
Very, very big fan of people getting uninsured motorists. And by the way, what people don't know is that I don't know why there isn't enough education about this, but if you're an Uber or Lyft driver, you should, most people, all drivers, they make sure to tell Uber or Lyft, like, look, I have insurance, and it's, let's say, Geico or Progressive, right? Because it's a requirement. You have to show proof of having your personal insurance. But very few people actually tell their insurance that they're an Uber or Lyft driver, and that's a big issue. Because what happens is when you're logged into that app and a crash happens, 9 times out of 10, your personal insurance, be it Geico, Progressive, whatever it is, will then say, well, excuse me, you didn't tell us that you work for Uber or Lyft. We don't have it. You didn't buy something called the rideshare endorsement. And therefore, we're going to say bye-bye to you, and we're not going to cover this crash. And then drivers are like, it's okay. I'm covered by Uber or Lyft. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. What can go wrong? The problem, though, is that if you're not at fault, if you are at fault as an Uber or Lyft driver, sure, there's usually $1 million, combined total limit coverage that you have. That's a lot of money. They'll protect you if you're logged into depending on if you're logged into the app and already en route to pick up a passenger or having a passenger, yeah, it's going to be $1 million. If you're just looking for customers, I think the bodily injury is capped at 50 per person, 100 per total. But there's some coverage if you're at fault. If you're not at fault and you're in Florida, it's a problem because you have a high deductible for car repair, collision, $2,500. There is no uninsured motorist in Florida. It's a big problem. A lot of injured Uber Lyft drivers call me, and it wasn't their fault, and they were logged in, and then it's an issue where we are at the mercy of the at-fault bodily injury policy insurance, and that's where in Georgia it's much better. In Georgia, if you are already at the stage where you're picking up a passenger or one is in your car, there's 100,000 uninsured motorists for bodily injury that attaches. But Florida, as we I think discussed before, has very, very weak laws.
Why don't you think, as you're talking about all of this, there's a couple questions that have come up, but why don't you think like Florida, like why don't all the states have the same like auto coverage? Like, wouldn't that just make it so much easier? Because it's like Medicare is all the same in every state.
That would require action by Congress. And I researched a little bit. There were some attempts, I think back in the 70s. All of them died. Somehow, every state is like its own little country when it comes to my job. When it comes to these
Which
laws.
is so funny because it's like each state, I feel like has figured it out. Like, I mean, it sounds like Georgia's figured it out a little bit, right? A better coverage, like it's a better, you're more protected. But Florida, like, it's just kind of funny to me that we wouldn't all just, even New York has better coverage.
Yeah.
Than down here.
Yes, it just so happens that some local governments, they don't believe in promoting laws that are pro-injured people. Whether it's because there are a few bad apples out there where, people don't get seriously injured and then PI lawyers push too hard. But I mean, every PI lawyer should fight zealously for their client to represent them. I mean, if I ever, find out that someone, God forbid, was not honest with me, I don't want to represent. I'm not going to represent that person anymore. But if I believe that what a person's telling me, that the injuries, and again, a lot of injuries are hidden injuries. A lot of pain is a pain that the person feels that is not. You don't need to have, a broken arm or like a broken limb or like a bloodied face or anything like that in order for injury to exist. It could be internal. And that's what a lot of people go through. They go through a course of treatment, as you know, and then they go for MRIs. They try to detect what's inside them that was causing all that pain and suffering. Right? But there are some politicians that I guess do not have a sense of that empathy for the injured people, and they believe that insurance companies need to be protected more so than the injured, and they don't want to pass laws that would favor the injured. And unfortunately, Florida is one of those examples.
Do you think it's because the insurance companies are paying more in different states? I know this is a very controversial conversation.
Do I think that
Because everything is governed by money, right? Like everybody, we all know everybody's getting something under the table. There's always, from the day of the dawn of time, or whatever the expression is, right? Money always drives everything. And so someone's paying off somebody, right?
lobbying? You mean, I don't know how lobbying works. I'm not in politics. I don't want to get in politics.
No. But it's just like, because it's interesting. So like that some of these states, like, I don't know. I just find it fascinating that would have different policies and stuff, because it's like, it's got to be obviously to the insurance's benefit, right? Because they're the ones that, I mean, they have to make money. They are making money.
I'm sure there is a lot of lobbying. So obviously there is. I just I don't know. I try not to get into politics, but
I know. I'm not in politics at all. I'm the most apolitical person ever. But I'm just coming up with my own conspiracy theories.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there's lobbying. Of course, I mean, our current government, the current governor, who's done a lot of good things for families in Florida, and nevertheless is not a fan of laws that would help injured people. For me, it's a personal conflict. Here we have someone who's done certain things that are beneficial for like family people like myself, but at the same time, for my clients, for my injured clients, I mean, these laws are no good. I'm not a fan of the current laws in Florida. There's always been a push by the PI lawyers to create mandatory bodily injury. Georgia is 25,000 per person, 50 per. That's the minimum. So you can be the poorest guy on the block, as long as you have a car and you have car insurance and you pay for the car insurance, there will be that coverage. If you could be Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad, crystal meth, or yo dude, but at the same time, if you're in Georgia and you have a car, Jesse Pinkman will be covered by 25,000.
Well, as long as you pay your insurance,
right? But in Florida, it could be, as you know, it could be zero. That's very sad.
Yeah, you could just have PIP, which doesn't cover anything. It covers like one visit, pretty much. With how medical bills are so high, so interesting. I love this conversation. I love how just took a little turn, right? Like from.
You always make it fun, so
I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, so I want to get into some cases though. I know there's some stories in you, Alex. I know, and I want to dive into figure it's just a fascinating world to me because it's so different. And to be in that, I mean, you're like, it's the same thing. I was I'm fighting for somebody's justice, and I want, the person to be, but it is really different. I mean, it was DUIs. What else did you handle on those cases?
Well, I guess a little bit of everything. A lot of what I did was in an intake bureau. So we saw everything as it comes in.
Okay. So drugs,
drugs, all kinds of crimes.
Yeah. So this is what I want to know. What did you, I mean, I know you said you enjoyed working on the DUI cases because that was something probably easier-ish for you. You were able to.
There's some similarities. Nowadays, in a bunch of my cases, I have to order body cam videos from the police to see what happened at the scene, especially when there's a contested liability, right? When the other driver's saying, "No, I wasn't at fault. It's your client who caused the crash." I want to order those body cams and see. What did the police see when they were right there? What did the people say to them at the scene? So in the DA's office, it was just easier to get enough to wait. It was just immediately the precinct would send me a link to the body cam. It was just more accessible, and oftentimes it was more action packed. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of not a car chase, not like in the movies, but a little bit of that. There was a little bit of that, more action packed, but. Nowadays, I also I watch a lot of body cams, even though the purpose was a little different over there. As a prosecutor, I was seeing, hey, did this person commit a crime? Here, I'm seeing, what happened? How can I prove that what my client is saying was true or not?
Yeah.
So there was that. There's that similarity. So like communicating with the police, seeing a lot of police reports. I mean, that definitely similar to my past life.
So interesting because I think about the body cams and like people are always like, get a dash cam, get a dash cam. And I'm like, sometimes like, I don't know if I really want to because what if it is really your fault? Then that there's evidence. Like you can't make up something or prove something otherwise. It's like literally right there.
You know, to that I would say still get a dash cam. If first, I mean, don't drink and drive. But if you ever do happen, we're all human. I mean, it's not like those what are those self-driving cars called again? You
The
said
Waymoos.
Vemos. Yes, they didn't take over the world yet. We're not like Terminator stage yet. We're close to it, but not quite there. So we're all human. We all make mistakes, right? And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're unfortunately at fault for a crash, make sure to have a good liability coverage, good bodily injury. Have your insurance protect you, and if needed, pay out to protect you. But think about all these instances where you would not be at fault, and when someone would, let's say, hit you and then say, "Oh, it's all good, it's all good." Just here, you don't even need to call the police. Here's my ID, here's my insurance, and then the next day that same person can be texting you like, "Who are you? Stop bothering me. You're the one who caused the crash." And oftentimes, without that dash cam, you will not have a way to prove that the person is lying. Because unfortunately, there are many mean people. They're selfish people. They're people who don't think about others. And, I have seen my clients in such situations where I'm asking my potential clients calling me, I'm like, hey, so, what happened? Oh, nothing. The person said that they're going to, be in touch with me and work it out. And then now they're texting me nasty things. Like, don't contact me again. It's your fault. You caused the crash. And then, but everything I work with, it's very important to know I need evidence. I need evidence. I need to be able to back up my argument. So dash cam is one of the best things that could really help out. So
It's very interesting because so one of my therapists in my office, her son, well, I mean it's nothing like there's no it's all good. But like her son got into like a little fender bender and she it was the kid like it was like a 2 mile, like it was very slow. It was like he was pulling out the other like a parking lot crash type of thing. But the other guy, like, right away said, like, "I'm so sorry, like, bro, like, I didn't mean to hit you." Like, right? You apologize because he knew he was at fault. So they're like, "Okay, it's all good." Like, they did a police report because it's some substantial damage. And nobody, thank God, nobody was injured or anything. But so they did the report. And the next day or a couple days later or whatever, the mom was like, she's like, I just want you to know, like, they're saying like now he's changing his whole story. He's saying like it wasn't his fault, it was my son's fault and all this other stuff. Like, but right away at the scene, he admitted to the officer, was like, sorry, like I hit him or whatever it was, which is just so fascinating. So like if he had a dash cam, right? Like it would have been all there and it would have been
yeah,
proven that he was
quite a few times dash cam saved my cases, saved my
hmm
clients.
yeah, no, it's
I
amazing.
even had a case when the police officer gave a ticket to my client saying, look, I believe from what I'm seeing and hearing that you're at fault. And he wasn't able at the scene to pull out the recording. The software, the app failed or something. It didn't let him connect. And he got a ticket. And by the time he retained me, he had that video. It was clear as day. I mean, he wasn't at fault. It was the other guy. And then my poor client had to, fight he beat the ticket. He had to hire a defense lawyer, go to trial. He paid a few $1,000s, I think. He won, but he had to pay. Meanwhile, the police officer, essentially screwed up.
Yeah.
So dash cam is very important, front and back.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Amazon,
So then
go
I know
get it.
it's not even very expensive. I always thought these
Yeah,
were like extremely expensive dash cams, but they're not. They're like I think it's like $40 or something.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, for like one that would be fine.
get it, and
It
if you
records like every records every 24 hours or something like that, or
but there are different ones you could buy. There are those that record even when you're parked, but the main thing is, of course, when you're driving. So definitely get it.
sorry, I was just
And
fixing something.
if you don't know how to install it, it's okay. Listen, you're very popular. You have many fans. You just call one of your fans who's good at installing things. Hey, just come over and install it for
Or
me.
the trick that I've like learned now, you can go like if you go to Advanced Auto Parts or whatever, they'll like replace your windshield wipers or do all those fun things. I'm like, yeah, which I probably should learn how to do, but I just I have no desire. No desire. I have a question for you though. On like the next generation, Generation Z or whatever it's called, because we're millennials, then it's Z, I think, after us,
Right.
or even the generation even after us. Um, they're not drinking anymore. Like all the 20-year-olds, they're not really drinking. Alcohol
How
sales have declined.
did you
Like,
read statistics on that?
yes,
I mean,
Total Wine is having
every
it.
time I take an Uber, all these Uber drivers complain about how when they work like a Friday, Saturday night shift, all these drunk college students get into their car.
Well, Total Wine has taken a hit.
Okay.
I've heard from people who like work for Total Wine or whatever. Like they're like, yeah, sales are down because like those other generations, especially with wine, because they're not buying as much wine anymore. They're finding like it's not lasting. Like the younger generation, they're like they want like I mean, hard liquor is a little bit more up, not but like wine is down for at least a total. And I can't say this is like it's a fact is Total Wine. Like this
Mhm.
is not. But I'm just saying like what I've heard through the grapevine. But liquor is down. Like if we could chat GPT this, which why not?
Okay.
This is kind of fun. Let's bring this in. Let's ask
Did
chat.
you do you use the thinking version? Because it's gonna take a few minutes.
No, I use like
Super fast. That
uh,
could be inaccurate though.
our wine or our alcohol, right?
The drinking rate among
Oh,
younger
okay. See,
people.
this is why is the drinking rate among younger people, like the 20-something-year-olds these days, going down? Right? Is that a fair question to ask?
I think so.
Okay. Short answer, yes. The drinking rates among the young adults have seen a significant decline, but full picture is a bit more no, okay, so sober. They're more of a sober relation. It is the Gen Z, younger millennial cusp. So for a 27-year-old, yeah, they're oh,
Oh, sorry.
so it's about 50% down.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Which is huge. But this is where I wanted to go with all this. Okay, so now since we know that alcohol has been going down, okay, now let me get back into my thought. Okay, now that we know that alcohol has been going down, weed drinks are going up.
What
Be
are the weed drinks?
like the THC drinks.
What?
THC.
What are the, you mean
Like
like
at the
energy drinks?
no, like at the supermarkets. Like you can buy like 10% THC drinks now or 5% or and then I mean, they have like THC and CBD or like, but they're sold at liquor stores and or I think even at the grocery stores now. Like,
Looks like I have some reading to do.
yeah. So like,
THC.
okay, so this is a question we can prepare this one for next time, but this is where I would love to like pick your brain about this because it's a different type of like intoxication you're getting, right? You're still getting some sort of intoxication from these drinks, but more people are leaning to them. Like I know there's a parties going on, like the sober parties. I can't really call them sober parties. Like you're still drinking something. Like if you're if it's a sober party, you're drinking mocktails. You're not
Right.
drinking THC drinks. Like very
I've
different.
never tried THC.
Well, now it's I mean, it's legal. You can go to the supermarket and grab it. I had one the other day, with a friend of mine, and it just made me very, very relaxed. But I definitely was like a little like out of it. You
Mhm.
know, like not there's I felt something, but not I mean, I was definitely fine to drive. I was very relaxed. Um, but like I want to know like and this is we can put this for the next episode of like how you would measure somebody's intoxication on that, right? Like it's going to be a different intoxication test than you would take with blowing into an alcohol device and or walking the line or doing all the like the nose touching the thing, you know, whatever, right? It's going to be a different, it's almost like you're smoking marijuana, right? Like,
Yeah, so for that, back in the day, I mean, the officers would request a blood or urine test. Again, I need to read up to see
but they
what's
can't do it
happening.
at the scene of the crime. Like they can't, like they can ask you to blow into it and talk like for
So they
alcohol.
would transport the defendant, the arrested individual, to a specialized precinct. At least in Brooklyn, back in the day, they were transported to I think it was called IDTU, like in the intoxication driving testing unit. If maybe I'm totally getting wrong, and that's each borough of New York had like a precinct with that specialized unit where there were people who were officers who were trained to do these types of tests. So I suspect it's still something like that is still happening.
Yeah, because it's going to be really interesting with these drinks. Like that are becoming a lot more popular because they're so like, you know, hangover the next day. Like it's all these things that people obviously don't want because they're like no one wants a hangover anymore. I can tell you right now, drinking in my 30s is so different than when I was drinking in my 20s. I could drink in my 20s and wake up the next morning and I'd be totally fine. Well, not totally fine, but I could function through the day.
Right.
Now I have like 2 glasses of wine and I'm like, I can't even get out of bed the next day. Like it's a very different feeling.
Keep a bottle of Gatorade by your bed.
No, I've actually honestly like pretty much given up drinking because I'm just like, it's just not worth it. The feeling is not
Right.
worth it afterwards. And now they make so many good mocktails. Oh my gosh. I went out the other night to a restaurant and they had a whole mocktail menu and it was great. And my friend and I were sipping on a drink as if it was like a real alcoholic
Like a
drink.
bunch of pina coladas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a guava margarita or guava mojito.
Mm.
It's actually pretty good. And but yeah, so like
Text me a list of those. My wife and I will try the mock drinks.
yeah, they're good. Um but yeah, so it's so funny to like see all these places and then there's like bars that are opening like this that are mocktail bars, like the one in New York and everything. So I'm like I'm fascinated with this whole new trend that people are going into, which would probably change obviously a little bit about accidents and driving because there's going to be less DUIs hopefully and or less drunk under the well like drunk
Drunk
car.
drivers, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean that is a big reason of car crashes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which would actually be much better because those are horrible. Usually those are like the most catastrophic ones that happen when people are under the influence and drive and it's horrible.
Exactly. Very interesting. Listen, when I get my first THC cases, then but I don't know how would I even find. I guess the police would have to find out that the person who caused that crash, where my client was hurt, was under the influence of THC. I haven't seen one of those yet in my
I
practice,
mean,
but
I have to say, I don't think
I'm
I've
going to be
ever
on the
heard,
lookout.
and I don't think I've ever heard of a case where somebody got into a car accident because they were too high, which is crazy.
No, that definitely in the DA's office, I've seen that for sure.
Okay.
I've seen that. But like marijuana, for example, it was recovered from the car, and the driver exhibited all the signs of being, under the influence of weed. So not as common as alcohol, but it's possible. Just in my practice as a PI attorney, I don't believe I've seen any of those just yet.
Yeah, well, these drinks have only been on the market for, I would say the past like maybe 5 years, 3 to 5 years that they really have been coming out more and more. I think 3 years. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We'd have to ask chat again. It's so crazy with
But
chat.
I'm one of those rare people I don't think I've ever tried drugs
Yeah,
at all.
it's
I've never
good.
tried weed.
Good. Yeah. I mean, some people like they're fine with it. Other people, whatever.
One of my friends has a medical marijuana prescription here in Florida, and he always jokes with me that I'm too old to even start trying weed.
I have to say the medical marijuana though is amazing for patients. Like I have seen so many patients get off of pain medication because they've gone to medical marijuana, which has been a huge lifesaver for them. Like because their body just can't like the pain medication have so many side effects, right? Or they can't take Percocet or they can't do whatever. But if you like smoke a joint or if you take some edibles or whatever it is, like post-surgical or whatever, they're like their body is out of pain. It's
And
unbelievable.
sometimes it's not just pain that hurt, it's also for people who are like too intense, their personality is too like intense, too focused, and they have a hard time relaxing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
too.
So many things. I mean, I'm just witnessing it with pain just a little bit because like I'm more orthopedic practice in my medical practice. Um, but yes, no anxiety. There's so many things that people have used it for.
But again, I definitely want people to be careful
Yeah.
when they're driving, because you have to really, if you have something like this, if you're like medical marijuana, you need to really understand, how does that impact my driving? Am I going to be a danger to society? Am I going to be a danger to people around me? That's something that it's very important.
I mean, vehicles are really a weapon, right? Like people think guns are a weapon. Like vehicles are a weapon. And we just don't even think of it because we're so used to getting into a car, driving, doing whatever we need to do. But it's the same, people have the same argument with guns, right? Like it's if you're grown up around them and you know how to use them safely, they're safe. But if you don't use it in a safe manner, then it's obviously it's a weapon.
So ironically, I'm a late driver. I've only learned how to drive when it came to Florida.
No
My whole
way.
life in New York, I didn't know
Well, I
how
was
to
gonna say in
drive.
New York, you probably didn't really need to drive because you could take the subway, you could take,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people, and a lot of New Yorkers are the same way
But
because they're
when
like,
we moved to Florida, my wife said, "That's it. You're getting your license." And I took extra driving lessons.
you did. Do you suggest that to like kids? Because you have some kids, and as they're getting older and they're gonna have to learn how to drive, um, do you suggest like having people take like a driving course or like
Of course, it's always a good idea to take driving. I think even if you're a good driver, a good adult driver, to just remind yourself of that defensive driving. I mean, it's beautiful.
my mom would always say the most accidents happen is dusk and dawn, the first 5 minutes of when it rains, and then the like a mile before you get home, like the last like mile before you get home is usually like the she'd always tell us that she'd be like just letting you know like when it would start to rain or we'd be getting close to home, she goes, I just want you to know that most accidents happen when these things happen, which is kind of true because you're almost home, you're like ready to just pull into your car, driveway, you're like kind of speeding a little bit, maybe a little bit more. But dusk and dawn, especially when the sun is like straight into your eyes and you can't see,
Hmm.
it's scary. And
Absolutely.
then the 5 minutes of when it start to rain, the floors are a little bit, I mean, the roads are a little bit slipperier because the oil and everything is coming off of the ground from the
Right.
cars. I mean, I don't know so anymore because we have so many more electric cars, but I don't know. Have you noticed that?
There's definitely a ring of truth to that. I have to go through my cases to like
Yeah.
gather some statistics.
I don't know. It'd just be interesting to notice that. No,
Mm.
like, I don't know. Anyways, it's also interesting. But those are the little
Remember,
tips.
get the dash cam. So if God forbid there's a crash, we'll see everything, the time of the day and what happened.
Yeah. I know. It makes me so nervous to get a dash cam, even though everybody's like, oh, just get it. Every PI attorney has said that to me.
Well, that's why it'll be so hard for you to figure out who to call. If God forbid you get into a crash, you'll have a whole list. You're like, who
Oh,
do I
God forbid. I
call?
don't even want to think about it. I'm not even, nope, not going to think about that. But anyways, this is just so much fun, Alex. Thank you so much for sharing so many interesting tips. And
I think we need to. You asked me for stories. I didn't really share so many stories
so
today.
next time I'm going to get some stories out of you. I know you have some good, I was like curled up on my couch. I'm always just like, story
I just
time. Like, give me a
Nowadays I
story.
just think more about my injury stories than about my,
Yeah.
as
So,
much as I enjoyed working in the DA's office for like almost 7 years. Now I am just all in thinking about my current clients all the time.
So, so do you have a personal injury story that you'd like to share?
Um, well, of course. I mean,
Share away.
I think I shared one. Did I share one before about how my client was on a scooter, hit by a car, had a lot of pain, and she only spoke Russian? Do you remember that one?
Yes.
And how the officers completely played everything against the whole facts were all played out against her because she couldn't express herself. I think I shared that one, right? So it's just an example of a story of a case. It didn't end up as a big settlement. I mean, the at fault driver didn't have much coverage, but I was so happy to help that lady. And similarly, I to go back into the same theme as to how I'm passionate about helping people who are wrong. What comes to mind is a recent case. There's a child who slipped and fell in a grocery store on a broken bottle with liquid and cut his leg. It turns out that particular kid didn't need much treatment at all. So medically speaking, because everything PI lawyers do relies on medical documentation, it was like a tiny scar. Literally didn't have any treatment beyond. It was really it was very very hard to actually get a lot of money for this kid because thankfully he wasn't that hurt, but he was hurt. And his mom was holding him, calling for help. And then when I initially contacted the insurance company for the store, they were just so obstinate and like just saying, yeah, whatever. There's a video, and you could see on the video that it just like happened seconds before that the bottle fell. It's not our insured responsibility. Whatever, get away here. A little money, a nominal amount. Go away, $1,000, go away. And I was just, wait a second, that's not right. I mean, okay, so this little child is not as hurt as he could have been, but he's a little child. And what in the world? So where's the video? I'm like, show me the video. Oh, it's proprietary. I would say that we can't show it to you. We're not showing, but rest assured, we have the video to back us up. I spoke to the parents and filed a lawsuit, even though it, I mean, financially, did it make that much sense? I don't know. I mean, there's very little treatment that this child had, so my ability to get him, and there are risks. We go to court, there are costs, there are expenses, there are eventually the deeper you go into court, the more expenses there could be. It's a careful decision making, to file a lawsuit. But we did it. Went ahead, and then in court they have to share the video. So they shared the video, this amazing video, right? And it did show that very little time passed, right? Somebody else knocked the bottle. And you need, in these cases, in slip and falls in stores, you need to be able to show that the store had something called notice, meaning that a problem existed for long enough that they should have cleaned it, but they didn't, and it constitutes negligence. But what the store didn't tell me is that an employee, passed by this puddle, passed by this, and continued walking and doing his thing. And then seconds later, you see my client, get hurt. So I'm like, wait a second, look at what happened. And they were still like stubborn about it. I'm like, no, no, no. This is actual notice. The employee saw it and did nothing. And only when the mom took the kid in her arms and sit down next to him, then they started running it, running. You see, they started running in with cones, and on the basis of me pushing and fighting and going further and showing them that I'm not, we're not afraid of you. The child did get much more compensation than initially was offered, even though it wasn't a big case at all. So when I see that people were treated with injustice, that brings my former prosecutorial side out at the DA's office. I'm like, I'm going to fight for this person, even though I'm not making much money out of it. Sometimes I barely make any money out of it. I spend weeks, months working, barely making money. But if I know that I helped correct the wrong, if I helped somebody that brings the most satisfaction for me. As much as it is important for me and my family for me to make money,
Of
but
course.
cases like that is what stands out.
I always feel like too, I think that's such a beautiful thing what you said is like you really want to help somebody. And I think as business owners, I think 10% of our business should be a give back. I mean, they always say like donate to charity, like 10% of your, whatever your income is
Right.
to charity. But that can be in so many different ways. And by you helping that family, that is like donating, right? Because you really were there to like support them, to help them. They felt so much better probably after this whole situation. Most people would never have taken that on because it's a losing almost, like it's a wash pretty much for you, right? And yes, you do need to make money. You need to support your family. You need to do all these things. But by you doing that is like it's a give back. It's a give back to the community.
Yeah, that's how I view it.
Yeah, it's really special and it's really important. It says a lot of who you are. Okay, so this has been so much fun today. I love sitting and chit-chatting, and we never know where this conversation is gonna go. And we always get some like really good. I have like an idea of like where I want to go in my head, and then like as we're talking, I'm like, all right, let's go over here. Let's go here. Let's go whatever it is. And we get so many good stories and so many like interesting things that you share with us. So thank you so
Thank you,
much
Ariana.
for doing this and sharing and showing up. And big thing, you guys, it's his birthday today. So everybody, we're wishing you and everybody, let's wish Alex a happy birthday. And
Thank you.
what a fun way to celebrate your birthday.
Thank you so much,
It's
Ariana.
actually like the best thing you could do for yourself is like give this gift to yourself of like sharing with others, showing up, having fun. It's just the best thing.
Thank you so much. Now
Thank
back
you.
to work.